Hello, greetings. A little bit sore from doing a lot of walking in the woods yesterday out of my farmland. Yay! Saw lots of turkeys, lots of gobblers walking around. They're looking at me like, hey, he's okay. They were looking at me though. Turkey's got big eyes. Um, Being a rational person, I can't stand things that people send me links to that are like, oh no, Chicken Little, the sky is falling. The end is here, the end is here, especially like the 10,000 comments and 10,000 emails I've gotten over the past number of years about magnetic pole reversal. How are coronal mass ejections? Yeah, all of that stuff is perfectly normal, and it's not preventable. And there are countless records of the poles flipping up teen zillion times over the past X number of millions of years. Perfectly normal. As an expert in magnetism, the expert actually, I've explained that and how natural it is. So I can't stand any of the fear mongering over here. And something that's just as bad or worse, and this is the same thing that happened before the Korean conflict and in Southeast Asia with the Big V, and right before WW2, a bunch of Frenchmen and a bunch of posh, or as the Aussies would call them, pommies. Yeah. So, oh, nothing's going to happen. I say, yeah. And of course it did. That's actually worse than the people that are, spreading, doom. There's the doomsayers over here, which if you're rational, you could see through them. But way worse than them, the people, they kind of, especially on the boards, nothing's going to happen. It's like, you're the same people that were cooking croissants when Germany, Deutschland, was marching down the streets of Paris. So, let me, before starting this video, make a bold statement here that's not bold at all. I was just watching General Flynn, the guy that was on the inside, the closest to all the details, and he's gone absolutely hog wild over what's going on right now. Is that if you have any delusion that what's going on in the past 48 hours is not way bigger than the Cuban Missile Crisis, then you have not got your head screwed on straight. I mean, you just don't. By the way, this is a post from General Mike Flynn. Last 24 hours, Ukraine has fired numerous ATACMS, and of course storm shadows are on their way there to Ukraine. And if I was Russian, what I would be saying about Washington, D.C. is, in Russian, by the way, "Сумасшедшие дураки, ну что ты? Ну что ты?" That's Russian, by the way, if you don't speak Russian. I'm not going to translate that for you. Firing into Russian territory, clear escalation towards WW3. So what? Number one, Harris should immediately invoke the 25th Amendment and remove the old man there. He's sleepwalking us into WW3. Let's put a constitutional pressure on Harris to, invoke the 25th. And he's actually not pulling the strings on this. Anybody that's pointing the fingers at the old guy in Washington, she actually just went on a vacation to Hawaii with her husband, by the way. There's a cabal that's backed up by, I don't know to what level in the shadow government, but certainly so by the MIC. That's a military-industrial complex. There's a cabal that's pulling the strings on what's the horrible things that have been happening in the past 48 hours. And I'm not one to scare. I'm definitely not. And I cannot stand, there's like prepper channels. Oh, doom, doom, warning, Will Robin. I can't stand that kind of stuff. This video is not like that, and I'm certainly not like that at all. I'm not one that's ever moved by emotion, unless it's laughter. I love a really good laugh, but this is the furthest thing from a laugh. Current House Representatives must impeach old Joe before endangering the United States. Yada yada. He's actually got a long laundry list here. By the way, I have, and believe it or not, I've been talking to a lot of people, and I've seen on every major board, I'm not going to mention these boards and give them any cred. I can't stand forums and boards. There's like this natural intuition that something is about to happen. There's like a mass zeitgeist that, and by the way, they keep saying it's going to be December the 3rd. I doubt anything's going to happen on December the 3rd. I seriously doubt it. 5 seconds after what really shocked me of Orange Man winning, I thought for sure they would not let it happen. I mean, I won't deny that. I mean, I said it many times, so they're not going to let him in. Not that I care about him, I just can't stand totalitarian evil. Kind of like what they have going on in the UK and Canada right now. You know, I don't want that. By the way, over in the UK, there's over 10 to 15,000 farmers that are protesting in Westminster. They're absolutely trying to take the land from the farmers in the UK. You can look up the protest in Westminster. 5 seconds after Orange Man got in, I was thinking about this before. It's like, what if he, on the slim chance that he gets in, 5 seconds after he got in, I thought, you know, they're not going to let this go through. They're going to do something. And I don't mean that old guy in the White House. I'm talking about the cabal that is running him. Anybody with 5 brain cells knows that there's a cabal running him. I mean, there's just, I mean, that's not in any way, shape, or form, you know, tinfoil hat nonsense. It's just 100% hardcore, undeniable fact. You can't even have 5 brain cells and think otherwise. He's not running anything. Recently, he, after pulling away from the microphone, he wandered off into the jungle. I was like, where did he go? He was wandering off in the jungle. It's not his idea to, you know, have the Atacoms and the storm shadows that are on the way. There have already been supposedly over 10 strikes, and I've seen some of the videos, including a gigantic orange mushroom cloud over a storage depot, which we all know what that is, deep into the heart of Russia. So, by the way, as a side note, I want to mention here the evils that are coming out of the UK are just like they're escalating. They're talking about going after people that are watching videos on the tube in the UK. Like if you're watching opposite, I mean, how are you going to do that? How are you going to pull that one off? UK, I'm part British. I'm not going after any British people, obviously. But the UK, the totalitarian evils and the laws that are going on there right now is just absolutely an abysmal disgrace. I never would have thought it would get this bad in the UK. Actually, I kind of did. I take that back, but escalates so fast. Things have gotten really bad in the UK. Anyway, the old man in the White House has authorized deep strikes into Russia. That would be Russian for those of you who don't speak Russian. Sumashchie duraki. Ты меня слышишь? That was Russian, by the way. I can't believe he did. This is an insane move just 60-some days before inauguration. That's not me saying that. I mean, you have 4-star generals that are saying, not only that, General Michael Flynn and other generals, people that were on the inside of the inside, people that know all the things that are going on. And a lot of people think, well, Russia's not going to do anything. I can't stand it when people say that. You got 2 antinomies. People think over here that nothing's going to happen, and you got the fools over here that, you know, they're just like, warning, you know, the end of the world is tomorrow. It's like, you know, you don't listen to either one of those people. You have to rationally look at it. By the way, Putin and the Kremlin has said that they've actually changed their red line for use of uranium and plutonium. Let me use those words. In other words, they've dropped the threshold for use on that. Someone, and I say the cabal, but we're talking about a cabal of many entities here. To what spectrum, I don't presume to speculate on how broad it is or how narrow, but somebody in the NSA or CIA is either completely trying to destroy the world, or there's only 2 possibilities. Completely trying to destroy the world, essentially so anyway. I don't know if you know the Deagle report. I've known about the Deagle report for years. It was talking about 2025 and what the world population would be. I don't know if you know what the Deagle report is and what their prediction for 2025. Anyway, the CIA and NSA collectively, they're either trying to destroy the world or they know something really big to stir the pot by the payload on the Atacoms and the Storm Shadows is something like 400-pound payload. You know, to be launching those deep within the heart of Russia. I mean, really, really stirring the pot deeply. It's, by the way, there's been two major fiber optic cable. Unintelligent people that don't know about communications think that, why do we need undersea fiber optic cables? And they need to educate themselves. They think everything goes via Starlink and satellite, and that's absolutely ridiculous. There's nothing faster than fiber optic. Bandwidth issues of satellite and interference. No, 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 no. I mean, really heavy stuff for communication and military goes via satellite, yes, but 95% of the world, between continents, you got undersea cables. Anyway, the Russians, this is not confirmed, but we know it's essentially true. The Russians have cut undersea cables. One is the Sea Lion 1 between Finland and Deutschland, between Finland and Germany. By the way, Russia just announced a few hours ago that by Christmas they're threatening WW3 against the world, or specifically NATO / the United States. Second communication cable running along the Baltic Sea between Lithuania and Sverige, that would be Sweden in English, has been cut. There's these ships, these military ships that have been in the area. I mean, I know who blew the Nord Stream. That was our United States government that did that. But these cables have been cut by Mother Russia for certain. Finland, by the way, there's 3 different countries. Finland has urged residents to be ready for WW3. Deutschland's federal army is instructing companies on readiness for potential conflict under the secretive 1,000-page Operation Plan Deutschland. There are also 2 warning citizenry on global conflict imminent. The plans target critical infrastructure protection, attack resilience, and civilian military coordination. Sweden, once again, they did this many years ago, was preparing its citizen. They're passing out these little booklets for WW3 with Russia. The government's sending out 5 million of these little yellow-covered pamphlets with instructions on stockpiling and food and water and other preparedness steps. This initiative reflects a shift from decades of military non-alignment and joining NATO after Russia's marching into Ukraine. The pamphlet is titled "If Crisis or War Comes." It's twice the size of the previous version. It includes instructions on plutonium attacks. I'm going to use the word plutonium attacks. Precautions. It emphasizes that Sweden will resist any foreign attack. Not that they have any chance at that, really. Sweden doesn't have a very powerful military presence or footprint. The communist new leader of UK, Keir's two-tiered Starmer, announced less than 24 hours ago that he is ready to use, the big ones. Yeah, he announced he's ready to use uranium and plutonium. He is ready. So the head of the UK, who I think is 100%, that's a personal statement, by the way, who utterly convinced is a complete and totalitarian dictator, says that he is eagerly ready to use plutonium and uranium kinetics on Russia. He just said that. He's ready to use them. Yeah, I don't know what the UK thinks about that guy. I have not heard from a single person in the UK that said that they like this guy in any way, shape, or form. I can't think. Not been one. I hear from a lot of people in the UK. Nobody say, "Yeah, I like that guy. I don't know what you're railing about. I think he's great." There's not even been one person that's emailed me that yet. Or in comment, for that matter. As of count, currently there are 10 plus attacks from Ukraine into Russia. One was the depot in Karachev. Russia right now is deploying these 2 stations. They're called Kob-M shelters for a fallout. One's a technical module, and the other is a module that holds up to 54 people. Oh, goodness. I lived in Russia. I don't know if you know this about me or not. Lived in Russia for quite a long time. I know the Russian people quite well. And I think there's a lot of, and I've seen this, I don't think, I know, because I hear from these people in these forums, and I watch a lot of forums, but I could weed out the unintelligent people very quickly. I just ignore them. They think, well, Russia's not going to do anything. They're all talk, nothing's going to happen. There's so many people like that. Right before WW2, before WW1, before Korea, ain't nothing going to happen. It's all talk. What Russia's doing right now is not talk. And all of this has essentially happened in the past 48 hours. There was rumor of it on Sunday. It's like, surely the White House isn't going to give the green light. Use them. Surely the White House isn't going to give them the green light to launch deep into the heart of Russia. It's like, well, they have, and it happened immediately after it was greenlit. And that's only just started. The storm shadows and the outcomes are coming in, probably the same way that those tank destroyers came in. I don't want to name the name of the kinetics. There was cargo plane after cargo plane after cargo plane after cargo plane of those brought into Ukraine, used against Soviet tanks, and they were used effectively. The United States is essentially doing, and this is pure speculation on my part, but I knew this was going to happen 5 seconds after Orange Man got in, which I did not think was possible. I have to be honest, did not think it was possible. Didn't think it was possible. But it's happening. Russia won't put up with that. Their military is quite substantial, but their economy is slightly, used to be less than that of Texas. Now it's actually slightly over that of Texas. It's happening. I don't want to see this happen. But how much has happened in the past 48 hours is actually astonishing. I'd like to hear what you think on this. You know, everybody has an opinion, and I certainly don't confuse opinions or doxa with empirical facts and evidences and logic, i.e. episteme. I tried to interject as little of that as possible into this video because it's not helpful. The more everybody knows, the better off somebody is. When you get emotional, it's all over with. You always have to have a cool head. I'm really worn down after a lot of walking in the woods yesterday, but it's very invigorating and very restorative. Even though it's kind of bleak and all the trees are off, the leaves are off of the trees in my woods. It's very beautiful outside. It's the last warm day of the year. It's going to get brutally cold. I hope the northwest is okay. They got a cyclone, they're calling it a storm cyclone, that's hitting Oregon and Washington State. I've seen the radar. It looks quite substantial. I hope they do okay. So tell me what you think about that. Communication is vital. The reason why they cut those undersea communication lines is you can go look that up, what purpose they serve. I mean, I think most people don't realize, you know, cellular signals are line of sight and they don't travel across the ocean, and there's not 1/1000th of enough of bandwidth through satellite for, you know, cross-country communication or internet traffic. It don't work that way. They actually go through landlines, except these landlines are underwater, and Russia definitely did cut them. That's just Russia's warning, like, hey, cut it out. Cut it out. You know, this is your final warning. And they'll give you another final warning, and then they'll give you, because I know the Russian people quite well. I'm not telling you what they're going to do, but this is what they've always done in the past. This is a final warning. I'm going to give you one final warning. We're going to escalate your final warning, give you another one. Like, you left us no choice. And I actually have a great deal of disrespect for anybody. This is going to happen. It's all just... Those people just don't have a clue. You got 4-star generals out there that are not invested really, they're just trying to say, man, you better watch out. This is really, really bad in more ways than one, and it's definitely worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis. There's just no doubt about that, period. Where we're at right now, it's worse. Now tell me what you think. And it's getting weird out there. You notice it? My friend in California was talking about her car getting keyed up today. I feel sorry for her for that happening. And it's just, I saw two people like having a backup war in the parking lot today. I mean, I thought one of them was going to jump out of the car and go, postal. There's a couple ladies actually in the car. There's this weird calm that's in the air. I know you could feel it. Everybody, literally, every major board that I go to, people are talking, do you have this really weird calm feeling? Except it's an unpleasant calm feeling. It's kind of like that whooshing sound that raging fire makes when you open up the door and you draw a bunch of oxygen into it, and that's when it just goes up big time. You're feeding it. It's like you can hear that whooshing sound right now. I feel like there's a whooshing sound that's feeding this fire that's been contained within a certain four walls, and we just fed it, and it's just about to roar to life. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm not a doomer. I'm not one of those people at all. I can't stand doomers, but just because I can't stand doomers doesn't mean I harbor any kind of delusion that kind of stuff doesn't happen, because there's a mountain of evidence that it does, and the people, and nothing's going to happen. I can't stand that kind of talk. It's like there's a lot of evidence that says it is. I hope nothing happens. I hope you're right, but tell me what you think. Have a lovely week. What is today? Tuesday? Yeah. Today's Tuesday. Thanks for watching.